Right. And to put that in like an economic context, like, I mean, I'm talking about like monetary theory is just like everything starts to work a lot better when it's actually on a local level that operates based on your actual needs, you know, because you have this system of economy where like the Fed is changing interest rates to like basically sacrifice working people on this
it's
altar
a one size
of the
fits
economy.
all.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, who could possibly
for billions of people?
Yeah, yeah, for billions of people, and there is literally a minimum number of unemployed people that are required for the economy to work in their mind, at least in like traditional economic theory. And so like
just capitalists.
Capitalist economic. And so like when you actually downsize it, because shit does not need to be on the centralized scale that those people are talking about when they're asking those questions. It can literally just be like, what are y'all's needs? What are our needs as a community? What are our intra-communal needs and our needs between all of these little nodes that you were talking about? And we can actually self-regulate the economy in that way, and we can throw out this whole question of job creation, because if there are needs, there is no need to create jobs because there was already there. The fucking Panthers said that shit. Like, how the fuck are there so many unemployed people when there's so much work to be done right here?
Right. It gets into deeper questions around labor, what labor is. Gets into deeper questions around fiat currencies in general. But that's the thing. It's the distinction between having a society that's ran. Literally, this is ABC 1, 2, 3. Capitalism is called capitalism for a reason. Capital is in capitalism for a reason. It's all oriented around profit.
Yeah. Right.
This idea of we're just going to stack up more of this, this fictional thing that we use really as power. It's just about power. Right. Ultimately, capital as power.
Right. Even taxes are collected to remove power from other people. The federal government doesn't need your money. They can print all the fucking money they want. They don't need your money. It's literally just a mode of making the money viable so that people they have to pay taxes in it, so they need it, so they need to work for it. And the collection of it is, in theory, supposed to say like, you can't have all these billions of dollars that you can wield as power over all these people. It's supposed to ideally work that way, but it doesn't.
It also depends on what level of government you're talking about.
Yeah, well, like the federal government can do that. State governments don't have the same level of sovereignty that, but like the point is, it's like, because I think a lot of people that talk about modern monetary theory are also still in this electoral space, so they come as close as you possibly can within that space to saying that money just isn't real without actually saying it. Because it's like people talk about.
I think they say it though. It's like social constructionism. It's like it's real and it's not. It's
but
they just don't.
Specifically, the book I was reading didn't read it. It was like somebody who worked in Bernie's campaign, but like they explained.
Stephanie Kelton.
Yes. Yeah.
If anyone's interested in this, read Frederick Sterling Lee.
Yeah.
He's a heterodox economist who he's no longer alive, but he was like a very. It's probably way too in the fucking weeds, but he was more he was more holistic. He understood the shit that we're talking about around social organization and the implications of that.
Right.
And he was holistic in that he also got into modern monetary theory. He saw the space for what it is and what it isn't. But that's what I think is the big thing with MMT and MMT people and that whole conversation. Just fiat currencies in general. It's like you have to zoom out and you have to look beyond the central banking system and look beyond the state structures as a whole.
Yeah.
Because it's also this thing of like it doesn't work being neutral. A lot of these economists, they like to play this like neutral thing, like of I'm just here to analyze how money works and how the economy works for what it is. But then they're making policy suggestions and they're making, it's like, again, with the cognitive dissonance, it's like there's a disconnect that you're not aware of here. Yeah. And it's like, Frederick Sterling Lee is amazing because he's like, I want freedom. I'm an economist, and I will analyze this for what it is. Right. It's a similar point I tried to bring up about Jaded. It's like, let's look at it for what it is, first and foremost, good or bad. We're not trying to put our own spin on it. Let's try and get as close to an objective view as possible. Now, what do we want to do with that?
Yeah. And to just round out the point I was making and some of what you were saying is like, you know, when people talk about like the removal of the gold standard, and fiat currency as a concept, it's like, oh, it's just not backed by anything, it's not reliable, anything. But the reality is the only limit on the money that the federal government produces is resources that actually exist in our actual productive capacity. So the reality is this money is backed by shit that actually exists in the real world, which is a number that is finite, but we have never reached it.
It's like $22 trillion.
It's $22 trillion. And we've never spent that much money.
That's like our productive yield, basically.
Yeah, per year, basically.
As labor.
It's real resources and labor.
Yeah, so
in the economy.
And so, all I mean to say by that is that like money is literally just it's a unit of account.
Right.
That under people central banking systems.
Yeah.
Which is what we have in the U.S.
Yeah, and essentially all that is stopping us is the shit that is there, that is in front of us, and the resources to make the world that we want to make is right there. It exists. So we could just do it. We could literally just do it.
And then policy, the policy stuff, like this is a purely hypothetical. I'm not saying that suggesting that this would actually happen, but in a scenario where there was a massive cultural shift, where millions of people, billions of people globally decided, oh, this is bullshit. Oh, let's just come together on this land and like start building a nice life for ourselves. And then all the time we use in terms of like quote unquote work and labor, let's just like focus on what we need to survive.
Right.
It's to say that if that happened today or over the course of the next few years and people started moving with that mindset, all of this shit about fiat currency and policy, all of that shit would be like beyond secondary. I feel like secondary isn't even the right word.
Yeah.
It's like what is the point of that? What's the point of that?
Yeah. Well, and it's like I've always found it interesting that you talk to people who are for capitalism and everything. They're like, well, do you know anything about economics? And it's like, that's the instruction manual of the game you like. Yeah. Like, it's not, you're framing it within this logic.
Right.
You know when I
even read the booklet from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, you haven't read the official rule set?
You know the moment I truly knew capitalism specifically just does not make sense. It was my macroeconomics course in college. The professor pulled up a graph and it was the hockey stick. It was like, he's like, and the growth goes up and it just goes up. and then he kind of looked at everyone and he's like, but it doesn't really work that way. It's on paper, but not in reality. And I was like, wait, so this is what our whole lives are structured around?
Yeah. Right.
You're saying, oh, well, the company should continue, these corporations should be able to make an infinite amount of money and exponentially it'll grow and it'll grow. And he's like, oh, but there are booms and there are busts.
Right.
Right.
Well, and
I was like, that sounds like a shitty ass system.
Right.
It sounds like pretty unreliable.
The boom and bust thing is hilarious too. Like you learn that in high school and it's like, every president.
Okay, there's just booms and there's busts. Okay, that's how it works.
Every president that like did good shit for the economy, like the economy was on the uprise like 2 years before they got in office.
Right.
But like, yeah, the idea that companies are judged by their growth, not their consistency, their growth.
Right. Not
like
their
how much better
profit margins. Fiat.
It's not even wow. You made $5 billion in just profit last year. It's you didn't make $6 billion this year. Like it's insane.
I don't see 6,000 new employees.
Yeah, it's growth.
Where's that 5%? Or is that 5% every year?
Which is fucking nuts.
And it's like for what?
Right.
For what?
and we don't.
For why?
Right.
For the fictional
qué?
number in fictional number in the computer?
Right.
What?
That's wild. That's wild that we think about, like, we talk about in the future tense, like, oh, these computers are gonna run our lives, like robots are gonna run our lives. They already do, man.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you doing this for?
Like, why do I have an app that I gotta check what the number is every time I go get a protein bar?
Right. That was
like, what's the number?
That's
no, but
one of my
that's the
favorite,
magic hand wave. That's the. It's not
the-
about the actual thing. It's about the number.
the invisible hand of the market.
Yeah, and it's like
the
more
marketplace.
Yeah,
of
you know
ideas.
the real like. Okay, they know it's about power. They know it's
Yeah.
about acquisition. They know it's
Yeah.
about domination.
And about empathy.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Picture your family got killed.
Yeah, picture your family, shoot him in the fucking
But
face.
I'm saying even beyond, not even Gary Vee, his dad. That's who I'm talking about. You know that motherfucker really knew what this shit was about. You know, people like Gary Vee. I see as they're just in contradiction and cognitive dissonance. They haven't reconciled all these contradictory positions and views that they have. But the real sort of like, no, this is a legacy and a lineage and a culture of we are the conquerors. We are the ones in control. That's what it's about. That's really what it's about. And then, so if you're not one, that's the shit that always trips me out is the people that aren't
Which
rich.
I think we're moving back to.
What?
I think
Yeah.
the conqueror mindset.
Oh.
We just want to be a conqueror.
moving backwards.
The glory of being a VC capitalist. Imagine your whole family got killed.
You ever see that movie Glory Road?
No, but I was gonna say like my whole plea, my whole appeal is like, dog, if you're hearing this, you are not that nigga. You are not that motherfucker.
Right.
You are not, and you're not going to be. You are not the odds of you, shit, you could be, who knows? I could be wrong on that. But the odds are so slim, man. And it's like they're miserable.
It can't be all
You're
of
gonna
us.
be miserable.
And also
is a
their
fact.
path is fucking them over too.
Right,
It's
right.
there's no life for them or their kids or whatever. Look, even if you're a narcissist and you want to be rich and you want to have status over other people, what status are you going to have if there's no other people around you that you can do
Right.
shit with or flex on or whatever? We
Yeah.
all need to be here.
Yeah.
That's what we're facing. We're facing a situation where we might not all even be here.
Right.
That's the contradiction of your whole
It's like,
shit.
yo, everyone in South United States, that's Tennessee.
The
We're
United
going to the
States.
beach in Tennessee. Oh, I'm in my Bugatti at the Tennessee Beach Club.
You're like, I'm the president of the United States.
Dog, it's also the thing of like, yo, fucking have nice things. Who gives a shit? Doesn't have to be off the fucking backs of other people.
Yeah,
right.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, we could all collectively find a way to like pursue and make ourselves with our own hands the nice things that we want
Right.
without having to like cut in on somebody else's life. Life.
I want Kid Cudi to make good music again, you know, and not do McDonald's ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really sick.
Hamburglar, yeah.
Hamburger.
And it's Grimace.
Grimace.
Yeah, Grimace was a big purple guy. And he was I want a 10-piece chicken McNuggets, please.
My nigga Ronald keep on running.